All right, let's get this party started. Thank you very much for coming today. I appreciate you could all make some time out today, and I sure hope that you can learn something. We've got a lot of representation here. We've got Renters Warehouse, Sunrise and Realty, Granite Community Bank, and Farmers Insurance. Have a couple of speakers from each of those. Also, we've got some investors here from the Central Minnesota Investors Group. That's the group that we formed here, so if you're interested in joining that group, let me know, and we can put you into that pretty simply. It's a group of investors that have, or adding to, or want more, or are starting their rental real estate portfolio. Our goal is to help them acquire, manage, and rental properties with a proper cash flow and a proper bottom line. We feel owning real single-family homes, duplexes and fourplexes, is an excellent way to advance this agenda, and our focus is in central Minnesota. So some of these investors have money, some of them have lots of money, some of them have no money, but they all want to make money. And that's what we're here for today. So our goal today is to help you develop and find one takeaway. So everybody, I want one takeaway. If you look on your papers, there's a form called Investment Seminar Report Card. Pull that out and be prepared to write down one takeaway. It's number 4 there, because I'm going to ask you at the end of the day, what's your one takeaway? Our intent is to give you some practical investment education and strategies. Now keep in mind, these are our opinions about rental investments. This is a way to invest. It's not the way to invest. There are other ways that you can invest. Plus, it's based on our own personal experiences and education and backgrounds. So, I'm going to give you a little upfront disclosure. We do not guarantee or warranty anything said, implied, or misled here today, as we are not lawyers, tax advisors, accountants, licensed security officers, money managers, firemen, hairdressers, makeup artists, or stuntmen. Okay, now we got that done, right? You guys can't even laugh. Come on, that was kind of funny. Thank you. Wow. But I am a very good property manager with a current real estate broker's license. I'm a sharp business owner, longtime church member, married to the same lovely lady for decades, and I have 8, almost 9 grandchildren. So that's the good stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to jump into, I'm going to write on the board here just some investment differences that we have. In 1997, the average home sale price was approximately $174,000. In 2017, the average is $185,000. So you can see that went up about 6%. Obviously, you could have bought and you could have sold and done some different stuff with it. I get that. These are just some basic numbers we're throwing out there. Dow Jones, you could have invested 10 grand in 20,000, and in 2017, it says you would have $28,000 there if you didn't touch it, didn't invest it, didn't reinvest it, didn't do anything with it. That's a 35% return. Not terrible, not bad. Okay. Rents in 1997, rents were $550 a month rent for an average home. Today, 2017, 2018, rents are $1,000 on average. That's a 55% increase. Okay, you know what's interesting? All renters know rent goes up. You know who doesn't know that? Owners. I have to twist arms to get owners to raise their rent. Why is that? Well, they don't want to scare them away, right? Raise the rent, you scare away tenants. They want to be nice to them. They hope that they pay their rent on time, even if it's not the same amount. That's all they're looking for. I say, raise the rent anyway every time the lease comes due. At least $25 a month, every time. Why is that going to do? Because you know what? Your taxes are going to go up, right? Your costs are going to go up. So raise your rent. It's okay. You're not going to scare them away. If you raise it $50, maybe $100, definitely. $25, you're going to get by. Just raise it every year. Over the years, you're going to see it go up. Because you should see an increase in rent, and that's what we're looking for. So, why should you use us? Renters Warehouse, property management company. Well, because we specialize in single-family residential homes. That's our focus, and that's where we like to stay. What that also includes is duplexes, fourplexes, and apartments, small up to 12 units. That's our focus. We're not going to get into commercial real estate. We're not going to get into commercial renting, as other property management companies might do. We focus, and because of that focus, we are now the largest single-family property management company in central Minnesota. And we've only been doing this for 5 years. So we must be doing something right. Nobody does it better, and you know why? Because of customer service. That's where property management companies have dropped the ball. Their customer service is not very good. We want to work it out with people. When they call, answer the phone. It's not that hard. Just answer the phone. Because of that, we can talk to people. We're going to solve the problem. You're going to have problems. It's okay. When you have a problem, just work it out by communicating. We collected over $3.3 million last year in rent. $3.3 million. We collect over $300,000 a month in rent. Those are good stats. However, 99% of all of the rent that is owed is collected. 99% is collected by us. I don't know anybody else that does that well. Because I know owners that are doing their own property are not having that kind of success. How are we doing this? How are we doing this? Number one, we're highly automated and we're online. Our services are out there and it works really well. 72% of all of our tenants pay direct withdrawal right from their checking account. 72%. That ACH is then directed right to your checking account, the one that you have in the Cayman Islands. Right. If you don't have one, I'm going to try to help you get there. We screen all of our tenants thoroughly through a pre-qualification on the phone before we even show them the property. When we get to the property, we screen them at that property. We have a good discussion with them. They say they're interested in the property. They have to do an application online. It costs $45 for them to do the application, and then we get the application, we look at it, make some adjustments, and we send it right to you, the owner. And then you make the determination if you want these people to rent your house based on the credit information. All of our rents are reported right directly to Experian Credit Bureau. So we can make sure that it's being reported like it should be. If they do bad stuff, it's going to be reported. If they pay the rent on time, it's going to be reported. Good tenants want that to happen. So we're going to be an advocate on the tenant's behalf to help them to become better tenants. They know that, and they're coming because they want to be treated right. We call, we track, we follow up, we coordinate, we communicate, we visit, we email, all of these things with the tenants. Because that's important. That's called communication. Find the problem, fix it right away, and move on. We have great working relationships with all vendors. So that's nice because there's vendors all over the place and they want to get some business also. So we help finding some work for them. They get the work and then they get paid. Works great. They love it when vendors get paid. We have an AppFolio software program. It's a very useful, friendly software program that helps us to do all of these things. It helps us to track maintenance issues. It helps us to track money transfers. Helps us to track communications, because it's all there. We can even text online. Okay, I'm getting old. It just surprises me. And we can track rent that was paid or was not paid. And of course, at the end of the year, there's a profit and loss statement that's printed out and given right to the owner. Here you go. Everything that happened on your property, everything's right there. Now you just take that and give it right to your accountant. Done. Simple. These things are designed to get and keep the best tenants in the marketplace, and it's working. So keep in mind that this service was not available just 5 years ago. It wasn't available because now it is, and I've had a lot of people say, I wish I would have known about that 5 years ago. So the last thing I want to talk about at this time, and then I'll turn it over to Erica, is some tips or rules of thumb. So some rules of thumb that I have is there are only 5 things that tenants are really interested in. Number one, their number one complaint, the owner's not taking care of the property. Maintenance. So make sure the owners are taking care of the property. And we help to make sure that they're doing that. Number 2, price. If they can afford $1,000, that's what they're looking for, $1,000 a month. I can afford that. That's my price. I'm good. Location. Not location, location, location. Location. I'm just looking for something within 5 miles of this location that I want to be. That's it. Not this side of the street, not that side of the tracks, not any, just location right here. I need something in St. Cloud. What do you have? Availability. Is it available? If it's not available, then why are we looking at it? And if they're looking at moving into something in November, why are they looking at it? So come back and see us later. Available. And the last thing, neat and clean. Neat and clean. So if the property is neat and clean, that works really well. Now, did I mention granite countertops? No. Did I mention stainless steel appliances? No. Did I mention landscape? No. Because I just heard yesterday that a goat ate the landscaping. Well, they weren't supposed to have goats anyway. How'd that happen? So now the landscape's gone, so we'll have to work on that. So if you want to increase your rents, the way to do this and increase your income is by adding a bedroom. Not remodeling the kitchen, not some of that stuff, just add a bedroom. That's going to get you $100 a month right now. How much is it going to cost to add an egress window? That's where it's going to go. So you put that egress window in, costs $2,500, $100 a month extra, it's going to be 25 months, and I get a return on my investment. So on the 26th month, I'm making money. If I do that, if I upgrade the kitchen, that's not going to give you an instant. You might get a little bit of a return because you're getting a nicer rental, but they're not looking for that. That's not what tenants are looking for. They just want neat and clean. Make sure everything's working. This is a fast industry. They move in, they move out. They're going to be here for 1 year, maybe 2. That's it. They're not picking colors of the walls, of the paint. They're not picking the carpeting. Moving in. Common rents. I'll write this down. Common rents for central Minnesota. So if you have a 4-bedroom house, the common rent for that, let's start over again here. So a 4-bedroom rents for $1,000 a month. 3-bedroom, $900. 2-bedroom, $800. Anywhere in central Minnesota. Any small town, it doesn't matter. Anywhere. So we can get that kind of rent for anything. An apartment is usually $100 to $200 less than whatever you're doing. So if it's a 2-bedroom, this would probably be 6 or 7, probably $600. So houses are always worth more than what apartments are generating. The other interesting stat I have is 1,000. There are over 1,000 people looking to rent right now in this immediate area. This month. 1,000 people. Some are going to rent across the hall, some are going to rent down the street, some are going to rent across the country. Doesn't matter. But there's 1,000 people looking to rent. We're putting on average about 25 units a month into that mix. There's not enough houses out there for all these renters. That's a big issue. And that 1,000 people turns completely over every 30 days. Every 30 days it turns over. How is that? Because these people got notified they have a 30-day notice to vacate. And now they got to find something. And they look hard. They look hard. They call people, hey, I want to rent this house. You don't even answer your phone. Hey, they don't even answer the phone. Hey, they don't even answer the phone. Why is nobody answering their phone? They're calling like crazy. They need a house or they will be homeless at the end of this month. Highly motivated people. And they want to get into something right now. They get into something and guess what happened next month? 30-day notice went out again and a lot of people are looking for a new house. Job transfers, babies, all kinds of stuff. A lot of people looking for stuff. Okay, with credit, let's erase this a minute. These are some tips that I picked up over this last couple of years. Crazy. A credit, B and C credit, D and F credit. A credit, these people, they buy houses because they can go to the bank and they can qualify to buy a house. B and C credit, these guys rent houses. D and F credit, these guys rent houses somewhere else when they're not renting with us. That's how that works. They can go rent whatever, but we don't care. This is where the market's at, and this is a huge market. The B and C credit people are renting like crazy. And yes, they have a bankruptcy. Yes, they have medical bills. Yes, they have some issues. It's okay. It's okay. That's why they rent. And they rent. And they rent. And that's okay. Some save up money and they can buy houses. That's okay. So we're looking at how that's going to work. The last thing I have, now I erase this again. Okay, what we're looking at. I have a triangle. On this side we have maintenance. On this side I have price. And what's my other one? That's selling price. And rent income. So on this triangle I have rent income, maintenance, and selling price. Put an E there. You want to buy a property, a duplex, a house, whatever. You're going to look at the price that you're looking at. First off, keep in mind you're an investor. Investors should be paying about 60% of the market value. Otherwise, you're not an investor. You should not be paying full price for a property. Then wait till the market changes. Buy it in the wintertime. So you got to look at what you look at. Don't compete with all the people that are out there buying houses. You're an investor. Buy it at the right price because that's where you want to make your money. So the selling price is good. Let's say it's $100,000, but there's $50,000 worth of maintenance. Is that too much? Is that too little? Well, that's why it's a triangle. How much rent am I going to get for that property? If I'm only getting $1,000 a month rent, then that's too much maintenance. So if I got to put that maintenance in, then I got to drop this price. It's got to equal out. So either I pay less and I have a higher maintenance, the rent justifies, we're okay, or I pay more with less maintenance, rent justifies, that's okay, or we would really like to buy it for less with low maintenance and have high rent. That's best. See how that works? But don't think you can buy something without justifying the income. I know the income. The rent income is going to be $1,000. That's what you're going to get. Don't think, well, I can get $1,500 for it. No, it's not how it works. Be careful. This is very important. This is going to save you thousands of dollars and lots of headaches.
My name is Erica Judsis. I'm the real estate broker at Sunrise and Realty. Sunrise and Realty and Renters Warehouse are a joint venture. We work together to offer the most services for everyone. And after listening to Barry, he's given us a powerful why of why to invest in rental real estate. And he's shown us an overview of the roadmap, and I'm here to guide you into the next step, the how, which in my opinion is the most fun part. How to turn this idea into something that you can see, touch, and will make you money. So in the simplest, most basic breakdown, we begin by shopping. And there is nothing that women like to do more than get a good deal on something. And I know you guys out there like a good deal too. So we're going to shop for a house. With 11 years under my belt in selling real estate in 2 different states, I've seen a lot of different markets. I've seen a lot of different real estate. It's all unique. And done a considerable amount of shopping of my own. And like anyone else, when you spend a lot of money on something, you want to consult with some experts to help us make the right decision. And we're hoping to learn from each other's experiences and skip all the bad stuff. So that's what I want to be for you, is your outsourced expert to help you try to skip some of the bad stuff and make some money. Now, as much as I'd like to ensure there'll never be a snag, like someone keeps telling you, or a bump along the way in this world we live in that's just not realistic. But when you make a decision that's informed, analyzed, and consulted on, the chances of snags or bumps along the way decrease considerably. So, how are we going to shop? How are we going to find these houses? Well, we live in the day and age of going online, so that's what we're going to do. We just have to make sure we're going to the right spot. Finding the correct and factual information online can be hard. If you've ever tried to look something up, there's a lot of information out there that isn't true. And that trying to avoid that bump and getting the right information is important. So shopping at the right store is an important part. And that's my store. That's the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. That's where all realtors go to list every property. We share our information as realtors on the MLS, and we pay for this exclusive right to share to put the information on the MLS. The information we put on there does get shared with all the other home search sites out there. There's about 900 of them, but there's a delay, a day, 2 days, 3 days. And these other 900 home search sites are not regulated at all. Sorry. Which opens the door for people to post opinion rather than fact. In searching this way, not directly from the MLS, you run the risk of being late to the party, and it may be the wrong party altogether. We know that good deals and price changes are snatched up right away, so if you're a day late, you could very well miss it. By going right to the source, you decrease that chance. So, in order to make sure that you're getting the best deal and the best information the quickest, I can set you up with a search directly from the MLS. This link will update you of new listings and price changes for the criteria that match it. And I've already sat down with Barry and put together a few searches that are good for investors. If you are interested in getting set up with a search like that, I included a form in the folder you can fill out and turn in at the end of the seminar, and I'll get you set up with that. It's an automatic search. You get alerted, and so do I. So I can see what you like and what's being sent to you as well. Now that we know where to shop at the right place, we've got to find the right property. The hunt. And for anyone that has looked at an MLS sheet or looked on the MLS for investment properties, maybe you have seen what I have seen, a lot of zeros and things not filled in which can be really frustrating when you're trying to determine if it's a good property or not. The MLS data is filled in by realtors, and not all realtors understand the investment portion of it. The majority of us get our background in residential real estate, which is the most common, and it's a different animal. There's not too many people in this area that I would say are rent estate savvy or would want to partner with a property management company to promote you making money. And that's what this is all about, is you having a good investment and making money. But this happens to be my niche, and partnering with Renters Warehouse has been wonderful. I see and experience the end product, what you want, and I can help you get there. Your MLS flash report, if you sign up for the one that Barry and I have set up, it's not going to be filled with $1 million properties. As much as I'd like that, those are not the properties that are going to make you money. In fact, the single-family home search is capped at $85,000. So we keep it affordable. These are the properties that are going to make you money, and what we've seen the most success with. We'll be looking at not only price, but we analyze condition, location, taxes, and zoning. We'll be balancing that with we balance that with our search for the quality and consistency in homes, or they're priced accordingly to get them there, and then timing the market, which was what Barry was talking about earlier. I can offer you sound advice for your investments, breaking down actual costs, incomes, returns, to help determine what's a good deal and what's not, knowing accurate pricing and what renters are willing to pay. So how do I do this? How do I show you this? Well, I looked out online, different companies, for a way to do that, and I couldn't find anything. So I invented something. It's called Screening the Property. It's a one-page form that shows you your investment, if it's a smart investment, or why one property could be a smart investment and why another one will take every dollar you have. I collaborated with the right minds on this form to try to make it easy to understand. So anyone that has little knowledge in rental investments can understand this form. I've included a few screen sheets in your folders, and these are actual active properties live on the market right now. And we're going to go through the form, and I'll tell you what it's all about. There's 3 calculations that are on the form. One is NOI, which is net operating income, cap rate, capitalization rate, and ROI. NOI, or net operating income, that's the method to show the value of the property. Lenders may look at this calculation rather than the investor's credit. It can determine if it's a good deal and how much they can lend against the property, if they're looking at it that way. The capitalization rate is widely used throughout the industry. It's an estimate of the investor's potential return on their investment, and it's good to compare like properties with. So your cap rate is your potential return. ROI, or return on investment, measures the efficiency of the investment when comparing to different investments based on the cost that you have into it. And you'll see that in the calculations. Breaking down the sheet, on the top, it identifies the property, if it's what type of multifamily property it is, the MLS number, the list price, the description, and the DOM, or days on market. And why is that number important? The longer a property is on the MLS or listed for sale, the more likelihood you're going to get a better deal on it. It's not a guarantee, but if I've been trying to sell something for 345 days, pretty more motivated than someone who's trying to sell it for 10 days. And it's usually priced accordingly, or you can get it priced accordingly. So that's something else very important to look at. Over on the left, we start with what the income should be. On investment properties, sometimes the current owner is not charging the right amount. They don't know, or they haven't been informed, or they just copied what the last guy did. Well, we don't want to make that same determination. We want to know what actually the rents should be. So that is where I consult with Renters Warehouse. How much should this property rent for? What should rents be at? And put that in there to show you what your monthly and then annually is going to be. I put in some more mortgage payment estimates underneath that, calculating your principal and interest. 20% down is the most common, but these bankers will tell us more about that. But just to show you what that would look like. What is 20% down? What does your mortgage payment look like? And so that's all on the left-hand side of the form. Then we take a look over on the right side at actual expenses, what you can actually expect to pay for expenses. These numbers are not always on the MLS form, but I research them and try to get them as accurate as possible. Also build in property management already in these equations, so it's already, your property is already taken care of in this price. Then on the bottom, these are investment calculations, the NOI, the cap rate, and the ROI. The two that are percentages, obviously the higher the better. These are the numbers that determine if this is a good investment or not. It's the black and white data that we can have behind us to know if we should buy this property and what you're looking for. Underneath that, there's points of interest, where I have my recommendations or a recap of what I have changed from the MLS. So you can see all of that. And this helps us to know if this is a good investment or not. I can screen any property, do a lot of them, and it's the easiest way that I have found to make this determination. It's all on one page. And pretty easy to understand, where we've tried to make it that way. And if you see one of these properties that are in your folder that are of interest to you, let me know. Our market is still moving fast, and if it's something that you like, we can learn more about it. And remember, any investment is about the numbers. If it pencils out, you should buy it now, because someone else is going to figure it out and buy it too. So if it works, if it's going to make money, we can find that out and show you, and you should buy it. Rent-to-state is all about creative leverage. It's the only investment that you can get a bank to finance and a stranger to repay, which is pretty cool if you ask me. Plus, when you outsource the headache of property management and don't do that, it becomes really easy. You can just sit back and collect your rental income. So I am here to try to help you be comfortable with the actual numbers. That brings comfort and confidence, and this will allow your portfolio to grow. And you'll be on your way to financial freedom.
Now this is kind of important because it's not just the sell versus rent. But we'll study on just the renting side and why renting is a good idea and how that's supposed to work. So if you grab that worksheet out, write an example on the top of it so you know this is your example. And up there it says the selling price is $185. So this would be our example at $185. And then I'm going to say the closing costs are 10%. So make a little note there that says 10%. On average, closing costs, you're going to pay realtor fees of 7%. You're going to have a couple thousand you pay for closing costs. You're looking at least 10% in closing costs. What's 10% of 185,000? 18,500. So put that in that box, that line right there. Mortgage payoff, I'm just using an example here of $112,000 as a mortgage payoff. So, write that down. If you take the 185 minus 18.5 minus 112,000, you come up with $54,500. What do we call this $54,500? What do we call it? Equity. Equity. Sell the house, make some money, there's your equity. What are you going to do with that equity? Something, right? Okay, let's figure out what you're going to do with it. Now, this is if you sell, this is what you're going to get, pay your taxes, do a 1031 tax for exchange. That's not enough to do that with, but it's, if you have 10 of them, maybe it would be. Work in that direction. Let's rent it. Okay, so let's rent it. Monthly rent amount, $1,400. If you got something at $185,000, chances are I can get $1,400 a month rent for it. Monthly mortgage payment, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Okay, so the principal alone on this, if we do an amortization chart on that, I think I took the, I think it was a little higher than this. I came up with $615 PI. With taxes and insurance came to $810. So in that box put $810. $810 will be what your PITI is in this example. You can look it up on yourself. Now you got $1,400, you got $810, you got $89 for our property management fee. What does that equal? If you add those up or subtract them, I guess, what do you come up with? $501. Gee, you guys are smart. Who did that in your head? Huh? $501. So put that 500. Now look on your sheet. There's a little tiny arrows on there. Can you see those arrows? That 501 goes up here to another 501 where it says cash on cash. So put that in that box right there where it says 501. Find that? Okay. So every month at $1,400, you're going to pay $810 and you're going to walk out with $500 cash into your pocket, just based on this scenario. Okay? So now you're saving some money. Take that money, set it aside so that if something happens, you can pay for a furnace. Pay for 1 month's rent. A couple of months you got that paid for, 3 months. Set it aside so that the banker say, where's my mortgage payment? You go, right here. I got it. No saving it. I just want to see if you notice. Yeah, they don't think that's funny.
We know it.
They notice really fast. All right. Now, back over here, I talked about the, right here, this is PITI, right? PITI. What is just the principal out of this? Any guesses? How much just principal is out of this 810? I got $130. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So now up here where it says monthly principal, put 130. See that? Monthly principal reduction. Everybody find that spot? Hey, walk around, make sure they're on. Okay, so you got 130 and you got 501. 130 times 12. Why are we taking it times 12? Because that's your monthly payment. Times 12 months. It's going to give you an annual amount of $1,560. $1,560. Right? Everybody find that? We're taking it times 4. Because we're going to go and do this for 4 years. So this times 4 is 6240. Everybody find that? I'm doing the math for you. You guys are really good at this. Next paragraph down, our next line down says appreciation. There's a 5% appreciation rate I'm just putting on there. Could go higher, could go lower, doesn't matter. It's just something to work with. 5% appreciation, there's a little tiny star there. 5% appreciation of what? Sales price. 185. So 10% would be 18.5, so 5% would be 92.50. 92.50. That's how much appreciation your house is going to get grab in 1 year. Lord willing. 9250, take that times 4 years, and we get 37,000. Now let's go back to the cash on cash. We got $501 coming in times 12 equals 60112. 6012, $6,012. Take that times 4 years. Why are we going times 4? This is 4 years. I got 24,048. 24,048. Take those three and add them up, the 62,400, the 37,000, and the 24,048. What do you get? Jeez, nobody's got that yet?
67,288.
There you go. Thank you very much. 67,288. Okay. What's your equity? I just erased it. 54,500. Add these together. What do you get? 121,788. So what does that mean? Everybody got all those numbers? So we got a subtotal of 67,000 based on all the things that are happening here. We got the equity, we transferred over here. This is equity. And then we get a total and combine them up. So what this means is, if you have a house, right now this house has $54,000 equity. If you leave it in the house, rent it for 4 years, have them make the payments for you, you'll make $67,288 worth of money on the property. Plus the $54,500, because now you want to sell it 4 years later, you're walking out with $121,788 bucks. Did you make more money? Yeah. How much more money? Who knows? What percent rate? How much interest did this money right here make by leaving it in there? We divide that by, it says right there, divide equity by the total made equals your ROI. So divide the equity by your total made, comes out to a whopping 44.7%. So you made 44% on this money in 4 years. You already have the investment, leave it alone. Leave it where it's at, let it grow. You're going to make rent, you're going to make money on that. If you take some of this principal that you're making and apply it on that mortgage, bankers like it when you pay off that mortgage. Make that a 15-year mortgage. I looked at that earlier, you could apply $200 onto this and that would make it a 15-year mortgage. 5 years, this thing's paid off pretty quick. If you want to play the whole 500, you can figure out how that's going to go. So this worksheet is just to help you to look at properties and say, what do I need to do to make this happen? It's not just about selling, but when you start looking at buying something, how much do I have in it? How much am I going to buy it for? How much down payment am I going to put down? 25%. So I know what my return on my cash is, my return on my investment. How long will $500 a month go until it pays off 25%? Because that's all you got invested when you bought this property. Bankers don't like to hear that. But they also want that thing paid off, and so do you. Get that working for you. Get this money working for you. We know the rents. People are paying these rents. More people should be buying houses, but they're not. Because why? They don't have a credit. We heard how important credit is for insurance. We heard how important credit is for banking. We hear how important credit is for renting. It's all important. But you know what? Work with these people. B&C credit people. They want to pay. They want to pay you. It's okay. Collect the money, pay the rent, make your money work, and if as Erica said, if the numbers work, make it do it, buy it. That's what this is all about, making this happen in the best way that you can see. This worksheet that we designed is just going to help you to look at those numbers. How is this going to help you make it work?